Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Chris, and on today's video we're going to go through the top 10 fragrances that you need for spring. Now before we get started, I just want to say that these are going to be a little bit more higher price point fragrances. They're not going to be your mainstream. There's a couple of mainstream ones in here, but for the most part the rest are going to be more private lines, a little bit more expensive, a little bit more premium. Why, you may ask? No, I am not a snob in fragrance, or maybe just a little. But essentially what I'm trying to do here is get you a fragrance that is unique, that not everyone's going to wear, that you're not going to smell like everyone else in the party or in the gathering or wherever you're going to. I have ranked these from the least favorite to the most favorite in my opinion. All of them are obviously going to be up there because they were selected for this actual ranking. All of these fragrances are going to be fragrances that I would wear during the spring months because we're approaching that. You know, we're going into March. The weather is getting a little bit better. There's some birds chirping out there. We're starting to see the first blooms come out. Well, maybe not so much, but the point of the story is we're going into a very nice time of the year. So why not celebrate that by picking our favorite fragrances? So the first fragrance I have here is from the House of Prada. This is part of their olfactory collection. So essentially this is going to be their private line, their expensive line. There are two versions of this, or not of this fragrance in particular, but there are two lines. There's a Mirage collection, which is going to be a darker blue bottle with a gold plaque, and the regular classic olfactory collection, which is this transparent bottle with the very nice blue sticker. Now, these are a little odd. They do have it on Prada's website, some of them have not converted over. You have to understand that Prada, prior to coming over to L'Oreal, they were under Puig, and this is the bottle itself. So this one is called Double Dare. It's a very beautiful bottle. It's just very simple. It's very Prada. If you know Prada as a brand, they're very minimalist. They're very clean. They're very nice. You do get a very nice little Prada logo at the top there. Very heavy glass bottle. There's nothing in the back of the label. It's kind of just shiny, but it is a very nice, deep kind of violety type of liquid inside. It has changed a little bit since I've had it. Obviously, it has been loved and adored. I have done reviews on this one, but I have selected it for the number 10 spot because I don't think it's going to work for absolutely everyone, but I do think that it's a very beautiful spring scent to have. This fragrance is cardamom, it is saffron, it has suede, it has jasmine, ambergris, vanilla, and vetiver. So we get some deeper elements in here, but we get some very light, fresh spring type of scents in it as well. It's going to be very likable. It's also going to be a little bit more serious compared to the rest of the ones on this list. I do love it. I do think it's very wearable. I have talked about this fragrance in many different videos, and it's probably my favorite one from the olfactory collection that I have tried. I have, I believe, 6 or 7 of them, and this is probably my favorite one because it's going to be timeless, it's going to be classic, it's going to have everything you want out of a fragrance. It's going to be, you know, serious but also playful. It's just very light wearing and very nice. If you ever get the opportunity to smell this fragrance, I certainly recommend it because you are going to love it. Obviously, if you don't like soapy clean scents, which is what Prada is known for, you probably won't like it. So steer clear of this one. And yeah, number 10 spot goes to Prada Double Dare. In the number 9 spot, I have one from the House of Burberry. This is from the Burberry Signature Collection, and this is what the bottle looks like. It is a very nice little clean square bottle. It does have the Burberry check on the actual neck of the bottle. It kind of has like a tortoise shell type of lid there. It's obviously resin or plastic, whatever you want to call it. It has a leather bow. These are actually leather, which is very nice. And it says on here, high tea 12%. So the percentage is the oil concentration that is in these fragrances. So this one itself is going to be 12%, and it's the fragrance of high tea. I was going to go for this one or the tonic one, which has a little blue bow on it. I don't remember a lot of that fragrance anymore. I did want to purchase it. I wanted to also purchase Tudor Rose, another story for another day. But this one itself is going to be spring at its finest. It is a high tea fragrance. It has quite a bit of notes. You know, it does have bergamot, clary sage, chamomile, mate, lavender, neroli, ambroxan, frankincense, and tonka beans. So we get quite an array of fragrance notes in here. They're going to range from very light scents to very, you know, deeper and darker scents as well. The combination of all these scents is really just nice. It really just smells like a cup of tea on a spring day, you know, where it's kind of cool, but the sun is a little hot. It's kind of one of those fragrances that really fits into all of that because it doesn't dissipate. It wears very nicely. It's very nice for this weather. It's very timeless. It's very classic, but it's lower on the list because it's another one just like the Prada. I don't know if a lot of people will run towards and really say, I want this fragrance. So number 9 spot goes to Burberry High. In the number 8 spot, I have one from the house of Acqua di Parma. You cannot say spring or summer without bringing this fragrance line or fragrance brand into the conversation because it's meant for this type of season. It's meant for the spring, it's meant for the summer. It's a beautiful line. And the one that I have here is Colonia Pura. This one was launched in 2017, and this one is by the perfumer François Dimaschi. Very nice scent. If you've ever smelled the original Colonia, just think that this one is a little bit lighter. It's more aquatic. It's more lighter up top. It's very playful. It really smells like if you were to go to one of those really expensive like country clubs and you have all these rich people wearing this really fancy clothing. That's what this one smells like. You know, the country clubs on the beach side, so you can see the ocean, the breeze, the mountains, everything. And it's just a very beautiful, well-rounded fragrance. The notes for this one are going to be bergamot, orange, petitgrain, jasmine, narcissus, coriander, musk, patchouli, and cedar. So very well-balanced fragrance. We get some woody elements in here. We get some light elements in here. We get everything. The thing that I love about Acqua di Parma's colognes is that they actually tend to really well balance the fragrance. So you're not only getting these light, sparkly citric notes up top, which is what traditionally you get in colognes, you also get some elements that are going to ground the fragrance. You get some floral elements in it as well. You get some green elements, and it's just really well blended and really well rounded as a fragrance overall. I would say that this one is the one that I would say for spring. There's some other ones in the Colonia range that I would actually pick for these summer months, but this one for spring is perfect because it's light, it's fresh. It has a cool touch to it, which is very nice. I think it's very appropriate for the spring season. So definitely check out Colonia Pura by Acqua di Parma. Number 7 I don't have here with me, and it is by the house of Celine, and it is called Rimbaud. This is a very beautiful scent. Now, I would have ranked Celine higher, but I know a lot of people don't even know the brand or don't even know what the fragrances smell like. I just have to vouch for the brand itself. I mean, I'm not being paid. I wish I was, but the brand itself is just beautiful. Every single fragrance in here can work for any season. It's very well rounded. There's some soft elements, there's some clean elements, there are some deeper elements in this fragrance line. It's just a collection that you can probably jump to or run to and find something that's going to match any single occasion. It's one of those brands that you can actually go and buy a fragrance and it'll work year round. And the one that I've selected out of the range is Rimbaud, which is going to be a little bit lighter. It's going to be a little bit more crisp. It's going to be a little bit cool as well, but it's going to give you that warmth as spring is so well known for. The notes for this fragrance are going to be lavender, musk, orris butter, vanilla, neroli, and wheat. I know that they don't sound exciting, but this fragrance is a masterpiece. I would have selected Parade, but I feel like I have talked about that fragrance so much. I want this fragrance. I want Rimbaud. They are a little pricey, but they're a lot cheaper than a lot of other brands. So I believe their smallest one, I will list down here the price for it. And then they have a larger size, which I will also list the price down here below. But if you compare them to other brands like Chanel or Dior, they're a little bit cheaper, a little bit more bang for your buck, and you're getting something that not everyone's going to wear. They're very unique, but they're very timeless and sexy. I mean, they are just beautiful scents. And this one itself, I think, is perfect for the spring. You will love it. You will smell good. And everyone's going to say, what are you wearing? And you're going to be able to say something you're not. In the number 6 spot, I did have this fragrance. I gave it to my mom. It is Chance Eau Fraiche, the Eau de Parfum. Not the Eau de Toilette, but the Eau de Parfum. The reason why is because we get those nice teak wood elements in this fragrance. It's a little bit deeper when it comes to the woody part of it. And it has a lot more amber than the Eau de Toilette has. So you get those sparkly, beautiful notes that we all love out of the Chance collection, especially Chance Eau Fraiche. But we're going to get these nicer woody elements to the fragrance itself that really add a different dynamic to the fragrance. It's going to give you a little bit more pizzazz. It's going to give you a little bit more luxury out of the fragrance itself. You're also going to get better longevity and performance out of this fragrance, so it's going to wear longer. To me, it smells a little bit more expensive than the original, but to other people, they might disagree. I get that. You know, everyone has their own taste when it comes to fragrance. To me, this one fits more of the spring season because it does have that cold element as well. The Eau Fraiche collection is what it says. It's fresh, it is cool, it is green, it is beautiful, but this one has that beautiful ambery heart with those beautiful woody elements to it, which just add a little bit more luxuriousness to the fragrance. It's number 5 goes to a fragrance that I don't have. I have smelt it. I have gotten little decants of it from friends. It is a fragrance that I want, but it's a little bit out of my price point, at least, for doing so many reviews and buying so many fragrances for the channel. I would say if you're going to be, just collecting a few fragrances, this is probably a staple to have. It is Tygar by Bvlgari, and this is part of their Le Gems collection. And it is just a very well done fragrance. Jacques Cavalier, which is the in-house perfumer for Louis Vuitton, has done this fragrance, and he is a mastermind when it comes to citric notes. I don't know what he does or what he puts in these fragrances, but he makes citric notes so unique and so different, in my opinion. And this one has ambrox. It also has grapefruit and ginger, which to anyone who's reading the description probably thinks this is boring, this is plain, this is generic, but it really takes smelling the fragrance to understand that it has a lot of different dynamic elements to it. It's going to have deeper elements to it. It's going to have lighter elements to it. For the most part, it is a lighter, freshy scent, but it's done so well. It's done so unique, and it's just, it changes. It has this very nice changing elements to it, which you start off with something and then it becomes into something completely different. And I think that's what makes this fragrance so well loved. I think a lot of people are big fans of this fragrance, as am I. I do think that I typically don't buy into hype, but for Tygar by Bvlgari, I would definitely buy into the hype because it's a really beautiful scent. If you're looking for a fragrance in the house of Bvlgari, this one's considered masculine. Now, they have 2 Le Gems collections. They have the masculine and the feminine. I know a lot of people will buy the masculine one because they're more popular than the feminine ones. But I will say that this one itself leans a little bit more masculine. But if you don't care and you just want to smell good, then get it. It smells delicious. It smells sexy. It smells empowering. Think of it this way. It's like buying Sauvage, but with a Louis Vuitton twist to it and a lot more luxuriousness. That's how I would describe it. So yes, number 5 spot goes to Tygar by Bvlgari. My number 4 spot goes to Louis Vuitton. Now, there are a lot of other ones that I would have picked for the summer months, but this one itself I pick for the spring because it's beautiful, it's cool. I think there's a trend here in this video, obviously, that you're getting a fragrance that's going to be also very light and fresh and clean, but it has a cool element to it. It's very chill and relaxed, and I think the spring is very much about that. And the one that we have here today is Louis Vuitton's California Dream, and this is part of their California collection. This is a fragrance that I have had a love and hate relationship with. When I first got it, I'm like, this is so generic. This is so boring. As I started to wear it, it started to grow on me like a rash. And well, I just have to say that this is a really nice scent that definitely is misunderstood because when you're comparing it to the rest of the collection that it lives in, which is the Cologne collection or Cologne perfumes, this one itself can kind of come off a little bit, laid back and like, no, it's a little too minimalist compared to the other ones in this range. And I do think that because of that reason, we tend to overlook it. But I would say that this fragrance itself is perfect for the spring season because it has those cool elements. It has those citric elements in it. The fragrance itself, if you want to know the notes, are mandarin orange, ambrette, and benzoin. So Jacques Cavalier doesn't really tend to list a bunch of notes, which I think is smart. But itself, the fragrance has those very clean, sexy elements of citric-y notes with it. Ambrette in here just works like a chef's kiss. So definitely check this fragrance if you're looking for a spring scent that you will love, you will adore, and you won't blend into the crowd because it's going to be very different to what everyone else is wearing. In the number 3 spot, I have one from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and this is part of their Le Vestiaire de Parfums collection. So it's their upper private range of fragrances. And yes, it's just a very simplistic bottle. It's called Jumpsuit, this fragrance. There are quite a few other ones. They are all typically named after clothing pieces that are iconic to the house of Yves Saint Laurent. This is a more feminine fragrance, but it has these beautiful fizzy elements to the top of it. There are some fruity elements, which typically defer me from a fragrance, but this one itself has fruity elements that are fizzy, that are clean. There's some citric elements in here. There are some floral elements in here. It's just a fragrance that kind of screams spring is coming. I know that people are going to be like, florals for spring, groundbreaking. But no, this fragrance itself is a beautiful masterpiece, in my opinion. It's one that's overlooked quite often, but it is a fragrance that definitely screams more fresh, more happy, more vibrant. It's kind of like going to a very nice restaurant when you get that nice sunshine in the spring and having a strawberry margarita or a cherry margarita or something of the sort where it's kind of like a fruity cocktail and it's fizzy, it's clean, it has a sour elements to it, it has a sweet elements to it. It's a very nice cocktail during the daytime. The notes for this one are going to be bergamot, petitgrain, jasmine, magnolia, peony, sandalwood, peach, and white musk. So again, we get quite a bit of different elements in this fragrance. For the most part, they all live in the same territory for this one itself, but you do get, like I said, some clean elements, some citric elements. You get some very nice, beautiful floral elements in here, as well as some woody elements. A very well-rounded fragrance. But if you're looking for a more masculine one, I would definitely check out Trench, which is going to be a little bit more masculine compared to Jumpsuit. But if you are looking for a fragrance that you don't care what it smells like, if it's masculine or feminine, buy this one because it does work for men. It's a very nice scent to also layer with other fragrances as well. So number 3 spot goes to Yves Saint Laurent's Jumpsuit. The number 2 spot goes to a fragrance from the house of Dior, which I don't have. I have gotten many samples after buying many Dior fragrances, and I have been wanting to buy the fragrance, but there are some other ones that I have on my priority list. It is a beautiful scent for the spring season, and the fragrance that we're talking about today is Dior Riviera by Dior, and this is part of their La Collection Prive, so it's going to be their upper range of fragrances. I love this scent. I don't know what Francis Kurkdjian did with the fragrance itself, but he did a really nice job. The fragrance itself is going to be very fresh. It's going to be very clean, but it's kind of like what High Tea does. So it's kind of like grabbing this fragrance and adding some elements that are more Dior-esque. And it's going to be very much what it says. It's going to be in the Riviera, the French Riviera, the Italian Riviera. It's just going to be very beautiful and summer and aquatic, but it's also very spring because it's being at the Riviera during the spring season, which is a little bit more cool compared to the summertime. It's not going to be a hot beaming fragrance. It can work for summer as well. If you're looking for a fragrance that's going to transition from spring to summer, then this is the one to get. But the fragrance itself is very light wearing, it's very clean, it's very beautiful, it's very well balanced. It has some sea notes in it. It also has some fruit elements and some floral elements as well. There are some musks in here as well. Notes that it has listed are fig and rose. I'm sure there's more notes in this fragrance, but the fig in this fragrance is definitely more of a fruity fig. I think we get fig leaf, we get some fig fruit, we get some beautiful rose in here, and it kind of smells like a May rose because it's very light and airy. It's not just your traditional rose, it's more of a lighter, sexier, delicate rose. And the actual fragrance itself is just beautiful. I do recommend you to smell this fragrance because it is one that will surprise you for the most part. It's a fragrance that you will look at the notes and say, this is going to be a fruity floral fragrance, and it's not that at all. It's a fragrance that's very light, it's very fresh, it's very summer, it's very spring, it's very resort, it's very beautiful, and it's just well done all around. So number 2 spot goes to Dior Riviera. And the number 1 spot did surprise me. I literally sat here for a few hours, debating on which fragrances and how to rank these and which ones to pick that I have smelt, that I love, that I think fit the spring aesthetic. And the one that I picked as number 1 is by the house of Armani, and it is Armani Prive, and I can't say the name. It's PIVOINE. Essentially, it's their peony fragrance. It's a very beautiful, delicate peony. Again, it's one that surprised me because the notes itself kind of have some fruity elements in it, quite a bit of actually. So the notes in here are raspberry, tangerine, peony, May rose, musk, amber, and patchouli. But this fragrance is just, I don't know what they did, but they blended it to perfection. The fragrance itself has these softer elements to it. It has these floral elements to it. The peony in here is just a beautiful, fresh spring peony. It's not a older peony that's dying, which there's some fragrances out there on the market that kind of smell like a dying peony when it's, on its way out. This one smells like they just started to bloom and they're fresh and they're that beautiful pink color. It's just a fragrance that definitely works for spring and summer, but I feel like it works most for the spring season because it's a fresh floral, and the fragrance itself is just well-rounded. It has some fruity elements to it. It's what you think of spring essentially in a bottle where the birds start chirping, you start to see the first blooms, and it's just it's an incredible fragrance. I don't have one here. I did buy it. I did do a review on it, and I did give it to my mom, and she loves it. But it's a fragrance that I would certainly buy another bottle of because I do love it myself. I do think it's a nice scent. Now, I will say that some people will probably think that this fragrance is going to be more on the feminine side because it has peony, it has tangerine, it has May rose. And sure, I can see that, but it's a fragrance that's so soft and delicate. I think you can wear it as a male as well, as long as you're not going to be, really weirded out by the floral notes in this fragrance. I think that the fragrance itself is really well rounded. It's really sophisticated. It's very clean. It's a fragrance that you can layer with something else, but I think on its own, it shines like a diamond. So number one spot, we have Armani Prive. I will list it down here, by Armani Prive. What do you think of these fragrances that I have talked about today? Do you have one? Do you not have any of these? Which one excites you the most? Tell me all that down below in the comments. Also, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and consider subscribing, you guys, for more fragrance related content. I really appreciate everyone commenting and letting me know what your favorite fragrances are, your least favorite fragrances are. I also love to hear everyone's story with the fragrances that I actually review on here, because obviously we all have different tastes, we have different minds, we have different experiences, and everyone's view on a fragrance is going to be completely different. So definitely comment down below your thoughts. I hope to see you guys on the next video. Until then, take care.